Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 6.
A major break tonight for police investigating a shooting at a Danville pizza shop.
A shots fired scare on the UK campus has now led to 4 UK football players being charged.
The case against a daycare director accused of abuse has been dropped. Her attorney says she was the one who was falsely accused.
It's a big problem, but those dealing with it often stay silent. How some new research could help women battling depression in Kentucky. WKYT News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. It shocked the community. A young worker shot inside a Danville pizza shop. And now, more than 2 weeks later, police have arrested 3 people in the case.
As we told you earlier, Danville police charged 19-year-old Rico Penix and 26-year-old Robin Adams with robbery and assault. And within the last hour, we've learned they've also arrested the third person, 21-year-old Patrick Brand, on the same charges. WKYT's Jordan Valines talked to police about the new developments in this case. It's our top story at 6.
Although employees at the Danville Domino's did not wish to go on camera to talk about today's arrest, they did tell us that they're extraordinarily relieved. It's been weeks of waiting and wondering who shot and robbed Zoe Reed last month. And on Thursday, we finally got some answers after Danville police arrested Rico Penix and Robin Adams in connection with the crime.
A lot of the results of these arrests have just come from just good, hard police work.
Although police won't elaborate what evidence they gathered to lead them to these arrests, they do say the investigation has progressed quite quickly, even without receiving many tips from the public.
Not as many tips as we'd like to have gotten, but we did get a few tips.
Zoe Reed continues to recover at UK Hospital from the life-threatening injuries she suffered in the September shooting. And police say her family couldn't be more relieved to learn of the recent arrests.
They were appreciative of our efforts and very appreciative that we have been able to get to this point and make arrests today.
Danville police tell us that this investigation is ongoing and even more arrests could be made. In Danville, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
Danville police tell us they arrested Brand at the intersection of 5th and Lexington Streets in Danville.
Tonight, 4 UK football players have been charged for a pellet and BB gun scare on campus. Freshmen Stanley Williams, Drew Barker, Dorian Baker, and Tamir DeBose were already suspended for Saturday night's game, and now they're charged with disorderly conduct. As WKYT's Victor Puente tells us, newly released court documents gave more details about the scare.
According to court documents, these 4 were playing a game they referred to as Manhunt in the middle of UK's campus. Now that game could have some very real consequences.
The Sunday night incident drew UK and Lexington police to the Kerwin-Blanding area of campus. The citations against all 4 men showed that they told police they were taking part in a game they called Manhunt using airsoft BB guns. Someone called police and reported a shot had been fired. Someone else told police they saw a group carrying guns. UK students who experienced the campus alert say they understand why people were nervous.
Even if it's just an airsoft gun, it still looks like a gun. And I mean, anyone can call the cops on that.
Police released video of the group they believed was responsible. On Monday, 7 men came forward saying they had been playing the game. 4 UK football players were among that group. Stanley Williams, Tamir DeBose, Dorian Baker, and Drew Barker are charged with disorderly conduct. At a press conference today, Coach Mark Stoops had little to say on the matter other than confirming that they were still suspended for this Saturday's game.
For this one, they're out. They're out for this one. Yep.
UK students were more vocal about the suspensions.
Such a huge game like South Carolina, and the biggest game I think we've had so far, really. And they're suspended, so it just kind of demoralizes the team.
UK's Vice President for Student Affairs said the school wouldn't comment on any possible actions against the 4, but did say the same process was used for every student on campus whenever there was a possible violation of the Code of Conduct.
Second-degree disorderly conduct is a Class B misdemeanor. If these men are found guilty, they could spend up to 90 days in jail. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
All 4 of the players are scheduled to be in court on October 28th.
It is the last day of the summer-like weather. Rain, wind, and much cooler air will be moving in. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is tracking the big changes heading our way.
Yeah, indeed. Today's temperature is really taking off on us, Amber, as expected, well into the 80s. But soak it up because the change is just around the corner. It's on the way for the day tomorrow. Right now across Kentucky, slipping into the upper 70s and low 80s now into most of the area. And that's going to be the trend as we go into the next couple of hours with that partly cloudy sky that is showing up with more in the way of clouds filtering in from the west. Live first alert defender. Nothing across our immediate area. Those scattering of showers and thunderstorms is close by parts of western Kentucky, western Indiana, Tennessee, and Illinois. That is ahead of our cold front that is still well off to our west, and out ahead of it, a lot of wind, a lot of shower and thunderstorm action. It's what's behind it getting everyone's attention for your Saturday and Sunday time period as that colder air comes on into town. So we have a lot to track in the focus of the forecast. Rain, some thunder, lightning, gusty winds, and that big temperature drop. It's a busy hour-by-hour forecast when I come back in a little bit.
A federal judge ruled that a Lexington Veterans Affairs hospital mishandled the case of a suicidal Marine.
Back in 2009, Lance Corporal Cameron Anestis went to the hospital for evaluation and treatment, but workers told him treatment wasn't available there. The next day, he went to another VA center in town, but was rejected for not having the proper paperwork. Anestis later killed himself. His family filed a lawsuit against the federal government, and while the judge ruled in the family's favor, he also said there are several issues to resolve before considering the damages. From the beginning, she claimed the accusations were false, and now prosecutors agree. They have dropped criminal abuse charges against a Lexington daycare owner. She had been accused of injuring a child in her care. But as WKYT's Mark Barber tells us, new at 6, the woman says the accusations hurt her business.
Savola Marks is standing tall after her attorney says false accusations have beaten her down for months.
It's been 100 days or more of pure suffering where she's been vilified.
Marks, the owner of Children's Treehouse of Knowledge, was charged with third-degree criminal abuse in June after she was accused of hurting a child at her daycare.
This was a disgruntled employee who decided that she was going to try to take away the livelihood and the reputation of Miss Marks.
According to an arrest warrant, the child said that while Marks was disciplining him, she gave him a friction burn on his arm, bent his fingers back to cause pain, and bent his arms back to restrict his breathing. Marks' attorney says the false accusations didn't stand up in court. Today, the prosecution dropped the case, but the serious allegations have already done serious damage.
Business-wise, there have been people who haven't enrolled. There are people who couldn't come back. There are children that moved on that she's not been able to continue to assist. It's decreased her enrollment.
While it's been hard, she will make it. Her attorney says her character has protected her.
If it had not been for her reputation and the people that she had helped along the way, I think that it probably would have crumbled.
Now she's free to go back to her business, and she's free to care for children like she has been for 30 years. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
We're told the employee who accused Marks quit her job at the daycare the day she made the allegations.
The death of actor Robin Williams this past summer reignited the conversation about depression in this country. It's something that 1 in 10 Americans are living with on a daily basis. In Kentucky, the darkness of depression is very real. Tonight, how some new research at the University of Kentucky is helping women open up about an all too real illness.
I know what it's like to be in a room full of people and still feel alone.
Her words are what so many can't or won't say.
I too have suffered from the cold, metallic grip of depression.
As news editor of the Anderson News, it's Shelley Spillman's job to write about others. But when she penned a piece about her own struggle with depression, it was her way of giving those who can't talk about it a voice.
I think it's very important to keep this dialogue open because for some reason we're conditioned not to talk about this. We're not open about it, and it's just sad to me.
What Shelley Spillman is writing about is something many Kentuckians are experiencing, 23%. But in places like small towns, the numbers are exploding, especially among women. In southeastern Kentucky, more than 29% of adults have been diagnosed with depression. Rates are even higher among low-income women, where 34% are dealing with it compared to just 22% who are not poor.
Southeastern Kentucky has so much more depression, but we don't really know that much about what it's like for the people who experience it.
Claire Snell-Rood is a postdoctoral fellow in the UK College of Medicine's Department of Behavioral Science. She's trying to understand depression in women and, more importantly, why they don't seek treatment.
And in a lot of cases, we found that many women didn't think it was a problem that they could get help for.
This latest research among women in Appalachia is based on the fact that eastern Kentucky already has extremely high rates of depression.
We decided to talk to 28 women with the idea that if we had them describe their own experience, then we would know what are all the different factors.
Some factors included the stress of finances as well as the pressure of providing for and keeping families together. Most all women talked about not seeking treatment for fear of being judged. It's also a region where some feel mental health care is lacking.
There's a lot of frustration that the women who I talked to experienced in trying to get care. They wanted good care and felt that there were times that they had people who were apathetic.
And that's why Shelley Spillman opened up about her battle to let others know there is hope.
You can make it out of this, and one day the clouds will part.
For every woman who comes forward to get help, there is another who doesn't. And that's what this research hopes to stop.
I think that talking about depression is a really good step so that people realize that depression is an illness and is an illness that also can be treated.
More studies need to be done, but right now the goal is to find a way to make depression care more accessible to areas of our state where mental health care is lacking. Snell-Rood says many of the women who came forward said they did so because they just wanted to help keep other women from feeling alone. October 10th is National Depression Screening Day, and we have more resources for you on WKYT.com with this story.
Lexington taking center stage today in the race for the U.S. Senate, why Senator Mitch McConnell and Allison Lundergan Grimes both came to the city.
Also coming up here at 6, a big reveal tonight at Thursday Night Live, how it is part of next year's Breeders' Cup at Keeneland. The campaign trail brought both U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell and his challenger Allison Lundergan Grimes to Lexington today.
Grimes spoke during a rally this afternoon at the Fayette County Courthouse Plaza. She mentioned her efforts as Kentucky's Secretary of State to get as many people to vote as possible, and she pushed for an increase in the minimum wage.
We're ready for a senator whose vision is correct, that knows it's not just a minimum wage, but a living wage we're working towards.
And tonight, former presidential candidate Mitt Romney will campaign for Senator Mitch McConnell in Lexington. The private event is being held at Donnemeyer Farm.
The countdown is on. We are a little more than a year away from the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland, and the official logo for the event was unveiled about an hour ago at Thursday Night Live. It features some iconic images of Keeneland, including the gate post. The 2015 Breeders' Cup will be for the first time the event has been made at Keeneland. It's scheduled for October 30th and 31st of next year.